So one night at my cousin's house ended up being weeks and rolling into months. Um, my cousin, I tried to get an apartment a couple of times and it didn't work out. Um, Something would always come up and it didn't work out. My cousin said to me, if you want, you can move, but the kids, I'm not going to let them go until Sam gets out. Um, and at that time, I resisted it, but then afterwards it made sense because financially it would have been a burden. But I remember driving the truck, the U-Haul truck from my event that I had the day after we were evicted. I remember driving that truck, and in the back of the U-Haul, one side was my stuff that I had gotten from the house that I hadn't put yet in the storage, and the other side was my event stuff that I had set up, and I was setting up till about 3 a.m. that morning, and I was nursing, and it was very uncomfortable because I had been away from my baby for hours working, and at the end of that night, I think I had only, because after all my expenses for that event, I had only about $300 or so, and I was saying, this is not worth it. And I remember I had read somewhere where it said, a business makes you money, a hobby costs you money. And I was driving thinking, this is not a business, this is a hobby. And if I really want to have a business, I'm going to have to change the way I do things. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm not going to blame anybody. Yes, what has happened hurt, but I'm taking responsibility for me and what I can do going forward. And I think this is what helped me from being stuck and being bitter. Yes, my husband, what he did was wrong, and I would not try to minimize that at all. But I focus on me. I can change me. And what can I do going forward? And I decided I'm not going to take any more bookings for events. I'm going to sit and strategize how I can turn this thing around to make me money, to do what I want to do in my life. I'm going to do me. So it was a changing point for me. Driving that U-Haul truck that 3 a.m. was a game changer for me. So we stayed at my cousin's house. My husband was still in jail. I was talking to him. We'll talk. I think he'll call us almost every day and we'll talk. And I was hurt. But I refused to focus on the hurt. It was painful. And it was easy because we were not together then, because he was away somewhere. So it was easy to just put the hurt and the pain in a box and not have to deal with it right there. So we were at my cousin's house, and he was incarcerated for about 2 months, and then he came out. Ooh. When he came out, I went through the motions, and we knew there was stuff to talk about, there was stuff to deal with. We knew it. And I knew it. So, but we went through the motions. Then stuff started getting real, It's like he would say something, and all of a sudden, all that pain, all that hurt will all come up. And I remember texting my girlfriend. She's a therapist, very good friend of mine, and I texted and I said, I'm struggling. I am so struggling. I don't know what to do with all of this hurt. And she said, she texted me a couple of things and she said, you gotta take it to Jesus. You have to, Nancy. You can't stay bitter. And I remember one of the things that I had learned was when I'm hurt, I stand in front of the mirror and I look at myself eyeball to eyeball in front of the mirror. And I call out the name and I say, I forgive you. And I did that with my husband. I stood in front of the mirror many times, almost every day, and I say, I forgive you. I release you from this hurt. And it didn't happen overnight. You know, sometimes he opens his mouth and you're like, please don't talk, please. Everything just comes back. Whoosh, all the hurt, all the anger, all the stuff. So it's a daily thing that I'm still doing. I'm still doing it, and I'm going to read the text between me and my girlfriend, who's the therapist, Malika. And I said, I am struggling with letting it go, Malika. All the emotions seem to freshen up whenever my husband so much as opens his mouth. And she said, girl, I get it. I totally get it. You want to scream, you want to slap, you're angry, hurt, robbed, and disappointed again. She said, know that you can forgive him without trusting him. You can forgive him and break ungodly soul ties with him by faith over and over again. There is grace to surrender it and forgive him over and over and over until it cleans out all the wound. If you have to do it 30 times a day, do it. Not for your husband, but for you. If you don't, you will get lost in it. The real Nancy will be lost forever. Tell the Lord you forgive your husband. Tell him you forgive him. Choose to bless him every day. Do something extra nice, extra kind for him. Bless those that spitefully use you. What if you do that? If you let it go, it creates the space and atmosphere for God to come in and change everything. Now that helped me. When I chose to forgive, it wasn't for him, it was for me. And an example that made me aware that I was harboring bitterness and it was manifesting in other areas of my life was my son, my 6-year-old. Kids have a way of keeping things real. So he was outside. I think my cousin was grilling outside, and he was sitting with him outside. And he said, my cousin was explaining this to me later. He said the neighbor walked past, and he was, they were talking. He was talking to my son, and very nice to him. And my son is a chatter. He can talk to anyone. So when the neighbor went into his apartment, my son turned to my cousin and said, he was nice. That's a very nice guy. He's actually nicer than my mommy has been lately. Ouch. So when my cousin told me that, I realized, that anger that I hadn't dealt with, it was manifesting in other areas. I was being snappy at my children. And I decided I was not going to take this. It was too much to harbour that pain. And see, I come from a culture where we don't talk about anger. We don't deal with stuff. We sweep it under the carpet and I carry on, oh, I'm not angry. No, I'm not angry. No. So actually dealing with all of this is something I'm learning every day. But I refuse to be a bitter, angry woman. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. And I refuse to give anybody that power over me. So every day, I'm going to take it to the Lord. I'm going to take it to Jesus. And like Malika said, if I have to stand in the mirror 30 times and announce it, that I forgive you, not just to my husband, but to the other people who have hurt me in the process. Because I've heard stuff that people have said about me that's a lie. And a lot of other things that have transpired, not just with my husband. But I refuse to be an angry woman. And what she said in that text has been helping me, and it's a daily thing. But it's getting better and better and better. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Join in the comments. Let me hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.